Itauma's answer wasn't, I have a great chin. It was, I'll hit him before he hits me. And again, that's not a defense of his chin, it's a refusal to test it. And that leads to an interesting question. How good or how bad is Moses Itauma's chin? How good is it from 1 to 10, 1 to 100, etc.? But how good is Hrgovic's chin? Hrgovic, when he fought Daniel Dubois, he took some big shots. He took jabs, he took left hooks, he took overhand rights. He took some very heavy shots. And Daniel Dubois is a big puncher. He's the only man, for example, to stop Jerome Miller and the only man to stop Fabio Wardley. He punches very hard. Daniel Dubois has a vicious jab. I believe some people say it's like a Sonny Liston jab. And Hrgovic took those punches. And this is the important distinction. He was stopped, but he was stopped on his feet. That's a very important distinction. He took big punches from Zhilei Zhang, who is a massive southpaw who has very strong power. Look at the Joe Joyce boxing match for reference. So all the evidence indicates that when we talk about Filip Hrgovic and when we talk about chins from 1 to 10 or 1 to 100, if we're talking about 1 to 10, if it's not a 10 and it's at least a 9, it's very high. He's taken very hard punches from lots of different type of opponents. And just while we're on the topic, who has the best chins in boxing? You know, when I think of the best chins, I think of a variety of people. Marvelin Marvelous Hagler, what an amazing chin he had. Check out the Thomas Hearns fight. Oliver McCall, many people talk about Oliver McCall and how incredible his chin was. Triple G, unbelievable chin. James Toney, underrated because he was a defensive genius in the boxing ring. So he was good at slipping the punches and taking the power off the punches, but he also had a great chin. David Tua, again, another underestimated candidate. Of course, Muhammad Ali. He took 8 rounds of punishment from a prime George Foreman, which was absolutely unbelievable. George Foreman can really punch. Check out the Joe Frazier fight to validate that. Carl Froch, great British champion, great chin. Roberto Duran, another amazing fighter with an amazing chin. And also Canelo Alvarez. He has a great chin. I can't remember when Canelo has been hurt. His chin is that strong. And let's tie it back to Moses Itauma. How good is Moses Itauma's chin? Well, the truth is that we, the boxing public, we don't know how good his chin is. But hopefully, if the Hrgovic fight is competitive, we'll be able to get an answer to that question. So the next idea is that Hrgovic's entire case rests on one word: experience. 4 English fighters in a row. 4 English fighters in a row. Let's break it down. Joe Joyce. And that was like a last-minute replacement, I believe. Adelaide, Allen, and now Moses Itauma. He looked good against Dave Allen. He really went in there and just, really put the pressure on Dave Allen. And we all liked Dave Allen. We wanted him to win, but he did a job. The David Adelaide fight was an interesting fight. He got hit with some really strong counter jabs and counter left hooks, but he persevered and he dominated the fight with regards to winning the rounds. Here's an important question. How important is experience? How important is it? Now, when Sugar Ray Leonard beat Marvin Hagler, you could argue that his experience and ring IQ was significant. He had the movement, but also he had those last 30-second flurries that would steal the rounds. That was experience. And of course, Marvin Hagler had experience as well and was a great fighter. Both were experienced and great fighters, but Sugar Ray made, in that fight, better adjustments. And that was part of his experience and ring IQ. When we look at when Evander Holyfield fought Mike Tyson, that was an absolute masterclass. We had the dominant position against Mike Tyson, so taking a dominant position, we had elite counterpunching in that fight. Evander Holyfield's counterpunching was elite. Whether it was the right-hand counter, the left-hand counter, it was absolutely elite. You had the control in the pocket, so he controlled the action in the pocket, either when it was in the clinch or when they were fighting up close. And then you had the tempo control. Again, he would use the clinch to slow down the pace or use the jab to control the pace. So you had that experience and that ring IQ. So experience is important. And this is where Hrgovic has an advantage. But can he make that advantage count? Because there's the important relationship. It's whether the experience that you have translates into boxing IQ. And I guess only time will tell.